This looks like a good hand. We will keep. We have turn 1 Aether Vial. And turn 2 we can play Thalia or Freebooter. So we'll start with Canopy, because the Gemstone Mine will eventually run out of mana. Okay, Mishra's Bauble from the opponent. That could mean several things. It is curious that they're playing Bauble without a Luris. They could have Luris in the main, though, which would make them either Jund or Death Shadow, in my experience. Okay, so let's see here. This is Abzan colors, so that could mean a few things. It could be an Abzan Shadow deck with Tarmogoyf. Okay, we find Champion of the Parish. So we might want to put Champion of the Parish out before the Hierarch. And then we could play the Kitesail Freebooter to get a look at their hand. Or we could play the Thalia to tax them on removal spells. I think I would like to start with the Thalia. So we'll play the land, activate the Vial to put the Champion into play. You want to get the Champion into play fairly quickly, so that it can take advantage of its ability and start getting counters. Okay, and we just pass here. We have nothing more to do. Okay, Blooming Marsh from the opponent, and it seems like they're passing here. Okay. So we'll have the Aether Vial to put the Kitesail Freebooter in play. And we'll get a better idea of what we're working against. And then we can decide if we want to put the second Freebooter in play or the Hierarch. I would imagine the second Freebooter, but let's take a look at what they have in hand. This will tell us a lot about what the opponent is playing, obviously. This could be Fatal Push. It is on the Champion of the Parish. Nothing to do about that. Let that resolve. And see what we are dealing with here. Okay, so this is an interesting hand here. They have Luris, Apparition, and Sword of Feast and Famine. So the Thalia is doing a bit of work, but the Freebooter isn't going to do much of anything, so we might as well play the Hierarch instead. So it says here that I choose a non-creature, non-land. So why can't I choose the Sword of Feast and Famine? Is it because it's the only option and it's just going to automatically take it? Because I can't actually select it. There we go. So at this point we can also play Aether Vial, and the Noble Hierarch will pump the Thalia. Oh, cancel that. We have to pay an extra mana because of the Thalia. I forgot about that. Okay, this is the Apparition. Probably taking the Freebooter so that they can get the sword back. No, they're going after the Thalia instead. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and use this. We could put it up to 3 or leave it at 2. Let's put it up to 3. We find Cavern of Souls. So we can attack for 2. We have the option to draw a card, which I quite like here. And we find another Freebooter. Okay, we'll attack for 2 in the air. And they have 1 unknown card. So we could play the Freebooter and try and take it. Or we could play an Aether Vial instead. I'm going to give them another chance to draw a card, and we'll see if we can't snipe something. Okay, here's the Lurrus, and they'll play probably the Bauble out of the graveyard, which I believe is why they took the Thalia, so they would be able to do that for free. And they know what I will be drawing. Okay, they have no attacks, fearing the Aether Vial, I imagine. So we'll go ahead and start our turn. Okay, this is the Aether Vial with no tokens on it, so we will activate it. And then this one already has 3, so we'll say no. And we find Meddling Mage. Meddling Mage is going to be very good with the Kitesail Freebooter here. But we don't have enough mana to cast both. I am considering naming Mishra's Bauble with Meddling Mage so that the Lurrus will stop gaining value that way. We will attack for 2 in the air. And play Meddling Mage, naming Mishra's Bauble. Okay, and we'll pass again. Their hand is full of basically all unknown cards at this point. A very easy Inquisition for the opponent. And there's their forest. Feast of Famine that's revealed here is the one on my creature. Okay, Skyclave probably taking Meddling Mage here so that they can replay the Bauble. And I imagine they'll attack here for 5. They already know what's in my hand, and this will gain them 3 life. Okay, so this is for the one that has a single token on it. We will want to bump that up. And then the other one is a no. Okay, we find Noble Hierarch. So that will pump the Freebooter up to a powerhouse when it attacks, but the problem is these creatures coming in on the ground here. Okay, and I think we'll put the Kitesail Freebooter into play on their draw step. Okay, so quite a few options here. Wow, quite a few options indeed. I believe we'll be taking the Lingering Souls here. Now we are in quite a bit of trouble because the Lurrus is going to be gaining life every turn. So it's very hard to race a creature with lifelink, and if they're dealing 7 damage a turn, that's a 2-turn clock. We will have to chump. And their hand is also gas. So I think we got outvalued here. And we will undoubtedly be moving on to the next game shortly. See what we draw here, another Aether Vial. Okay, we'll take the stop off the opponent's draw and concede the game. And think about how we can do better in the upcoming game. So if the opponent is running 3 colors, we should be playing Magus of the Moon. I believe that the creature types were divergent enough that the carrier is not going to do much good. Apparition could do some good. Gaddock Teeg doesn't seem very good. Auriok Champion I don't think is going to be very good in this matchup. So we're going to be looking for 4 cards to take out. General seems quite good, actually. If they're playing Lurrus, we can remove cards from their graveyard. The Meddling Mage seems okay. We can name some removal spells and try and strand those in their hand. But this is actually one of the cards I'm considering cutting. I think the Freebooter is fine. So maybe we cut the Meddling Mage. I think the removal is going to be probably Fatal Push for the most part, but they probably also have Path to Exile. We're going to take out Meddling Mage because we don't have enough information about the opponent's deck. It seems kind of a rogue strategy to me. And we'll submit like this with Magus of the Moon and Skyclave Apparition. Okay, so we have the General, and we have the Thalia. We're going to keep this. Reflector Mage also seems quite nice in this matchup. We'll start with an Unclaimed Territory, naming Human, and we might name Spirit with the other Unclaimed Territory. Okay, the Aether Vial, one turn too late. Just wondering if I want to name Spirit with this, or if I should name Human again. I think between the first Unclaimed Territory and the Gemstone Mine, we should have enough to be able to cast our spells. So we're going to name Spirit so that we can cast a Skyclave Apparition if we find one. And we want to play the Thalia right away, so that one land cannot go get a removal spell, whereas if we played the Freebooter, they would be able to just fetch, get a removal spell, and take the Freebooter off the table immediately. Okay, we find another Thalia. We'll play, I think, Gemstone Mine and Freebooter. Well, we wouldn't be able to get the Aether Vial out that way. Maybe we'll play the General instead. In which case we should play that before combat to grow the Thalia. So we'll get black with that, colorless with this, and white. If they have a Fatal Push here, I do imagine they will cast it, although I can't be sure what target they will choose. The General is also quite attractive. Okay, it is a path against the Thalia. We have another Thalia in hand, so that's fine. And we'll go get, I think Plains is fine. That'll help us cast the Spirit if we find it. So we could have a turn of Thalia and Freebooter, or we could play Aether Vial into Thalia. Okay, here's a Liliana. That's a problem. They'll be able to kill the General. And we draw Thalia's Lieutenant. So I'm thinking... They still have so many cards in hand. I would like to use Thalia to tax their mana. So we'll play Thalia into Thalia's Lieutenant. Or we could play Thalia into Aether Vial instead. But I'm considering discarding the Aether Vial to the Liliana. We already have a surplus of mana here. Okay, they discard a Silent Clearing. And they have an Apparition. Good card is good. So I'm going to Reflector Mage the Apparition, and that will allow me to kill the Liliana. And I can play the Champion of the Parish first, so that it also gets a +1/+1. That will get rid of the Gemstone Mine, but we'll still have 3 lands in play. Okay, let's kill Liliana and move on with our lives. We are starting to get a mean fighting force here, and the opponent is just starting to rebuild their board. So they have another Liliana. They ask us to sacrifice so we can get rid of the illusion. And they have a Tarmogoyf. Okay, the opponent's deck is full of powerful cards. We find Cavern of Souls. That is not a removal. Okay, so swinging into Tarmogoyf does not seem like an attractive proposition. Let's play Cavern of Souls, name Human, and we'll play Kitesail Freebooter. So that we have an Air Force, and this will also grow our other two creatures. Okay, nothing that we can touch. Okay, let's take a second here and look at what we're swinging with. We have a 4 that would be blocked by Tarmogoyf, and we would hit them for 5, putting them to 10 or killing the Liliana. I don't really think that that is a trade that we want to be taking right now. Perhaps if their life total was a little bit lower, I'd be willing to throw the Lieutenant under the bus. But Lieutenant does grow larger than Tarmogoyf if we have the time to do that. I imagine they will be... Oh, I figured they would be starting with the Spirit, but it looks like they're playing the Lurrus first. Curious. I don't think... Oh, that makes sense now. Because they have the Mishra's Bauble. They drew a good card. Well, let's see if we can likewise draw a good card. Ah, we do. Reflector Mage. Fantastic. So we can reflect the Tarmogoyf. Or we could reflect the Lurrus, but I think reflecting the Tarmogoyf is going to be far better, considering what we have. Okay, so let's see here. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. We do not have lethal here. Going to swing this, this, and this at our opponent. And this will go at Liliana, taking it off the board. If they want to block, that's fine. They can trade. We're okay with that. Take the Lurrus off the board. Okay, here comes the Apparition. I imagine it will take the Lieutenant, which is the largest creature. Our creatures still attack quite well into their Apparition, though. And we find another Lieutenant. So let's go ahead and play that. Pre-combat, so that it grows all of our creatures. And then we'll attack all. This is a lethal attack. They are forced to block, which will give us a token. Okay, things are looking up. How's the audio? It looks like I've got a couple viewers here. Are you hearing much background noise? Seems like my roommate is woken up and they're making a bit of noise in the kitchen, which is just above my room. So I'm not sure if you can hear that or not. Just noticing that we have just under 10 minutes left, so we're going to have to play fairly quickly for this game 3. I'm fairly satisfied though with how I boarded. Thank you, J-Min. I think that we're going to go ahead and submit just the same as we had before. Okay, so we have Aether Vial into 2 drops. I think this hand is good enough that we keep it. And we have Canopies to draw better cards down the road. Cavern of Souls will let us cast the Freebooter as well. Okay, so they're going to start with, I think, oh, a white mana. Engineered Explosives on 1. That will take care of Aether Vial. Okay. I think that we still present Aether Vial. If they want to use mana to take it off the board, then that's a turn that they're not spending casting Tarmogoyf. And if they leave the Aether Vial on the board for long enough, it will let me put one of my 2-drops down. So we will take that trade. Oh, here's a Stoneforge Mystic. The opponent is just playing plethora of very good magic cards. Okay, they find Batterskull. I think we're going to freeboot that. Okay, we find another Lieutenant. Fantastic. Let's take their Batterskull. Oh, a Celestial Purge. Exile target red or black permanent. Okay. Well, we're going to make them use the Purge in order to get their Batterskull back. I don't know if that is the correct thing to do. It might have been better to Reflector Mage the Germ. Okay. They're going to use their mana to get rid of the Aether Vial this turn. And we get Phantasmal Image. So we can make an image of the Freebooter and play Aether Vial. Oh, we don't have the mana. We don't have access to blue mana for the Phantasmal Image, so we cannot do that. So in that case, I think I play Aether Vial Lieutenant. And we'll keep the Reflector Mage so that if they put the Batterskull into play, or rather when they put the Batterskull into play, we will be able to reflect their germ. Okay, here's a Liliana. They'll make us sacrifice. We will sacrifice the Lieutenant here, because the Freebooter can kill Liliana on the crackback. That's fine, we'll take one. We find Silent Clearing, which does not give us access to blue mana. I am considering cracking one of my canopies here to try and get the image online, and even if I miss, I can still put a Thalia down. Okay, we find another Thalia's Lieutenant. So we are taking quite a bit of pain from our lands here. And we'll use the Kitesail to kill Liliana, get that off the board. Okay, next turn we have access to Aether Vial, which means we'll be able to play a ton of lieutenants. Okay, it looks like they're going to hold back here and keep up Celestial Purge. Okay, we find the blue mana we've been looking for all this time. So we do have a bit of consideration on how to play this turn out. I'm thinking I'm going to attack all, and then I'll be able to use the Aether Vial to put a lieutenant into play, and then depending on what they do, I can Reflector Mage the Batter Skull. Oh, that's not, I don't think that's ideal here. Let me think a little bit harder. I think the better play would be to put Lieutenant onto the battlefield, and then with a trigger on the stack, put Image onto the battlefield, copying Lieutenant. If they have Fatal Push in play, or Fatal Push in hand, I would still be able to have a couple Lieutenants left over. And since they cannot, unless they have Fatal Push, put the Batter Skull into play, that should be fine. And I would be attacking with a 4/4 anyways, I believe. So let's do that. I have to decide if I want to take a counter off Gemstone Mine or take damage from my lands. The Gemstone Mine is flush, so we're going to use that. Okay, and then we're going to activate the Vial with these triggers on the stack and put Phantasmal Image into play. And it will copy a Lieutenant. We don't have any equipment in our library, so I don't think it's worthwhile to copy Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, the timer has turned red, reminding me that I need to play faster. Forgive me, this is a new deck for me. Okay, we will attack all, and they're going to use their Purge or something else on the Freebooter. I'm just curious if they have access to second removal spell here. Doesn't look like it. Okay, we do some damage. Let's pass the turn. Okay, Engineered Explosives on 2. If they have another land available, they're doing pretty good, but it doesn't look like they do. So we're going to Reflector Mage their creature out of the way. See what we draw here. Island. I'm going to keep the Silent Clearing available in case I draw a Spirit, but I get Unclaimed Territory instead. Okay. Let's get that blocker out of the way. Don't normally like blinking a Mystic, but it'll be in their hand for a couple of turns. And this is requiring double removal spell for them to survive. So that works out for us. They do. We're playing against Obosh Prowess. So knowing we're playing against Obosh, Thalia seems quite good. The two Phantasmal Image are a bit of a problem, though. We might end up copying their creatures with our image. Hey there, handsome. Good to see ya. You managed to join us for match 2 of our Humans League. I'm heavily considering keeping this. Let's just run with it and see what happens. A more experienced player might have thrown this away, knowing that we're playing against Obosh, and said, no, this is garbage. But I don't know, maybe it's good. Our first play here seems rather obvious. We're going to start with a Cavern of Souls, name Human, and play Aether Vial. Next turn, we will play Thalia to stifle their mana. Really, the Thalia is what's got me interested in keeping this hand. Okay, so this must be light up the stage. And they found a pair of Bone Crusher Giants. So they'll need to spend all their mana for the Bone Crusher to kill Thalia. And we find Champion of the Parish. So we can put Champion and Thalia into play this turn. We could also... no, we don't have the blue mana for the image again, so we'll have to wait for the Aether Vial to tick up to 2. Cancel that. That's not how I want to play that. So you're saying the amount of lag is inconsistent? Okay, so we got 2 creatures on the board, both with 2 power. They'll only be able to kill one of them. And the image would make a nice champion, I think. Oh my, that is quite the difference. 25 seconds lag has got to be quite a pain. Okay, they're using Firebolt to get rid of the Thalia, which means both of these Bone Crusher Giants are going to be exiled forever. They will be able to attack for 4 here. We are not interested in chumping. We want to keep that Champion of the Parish. It's going to be a 3/3 next turn, or if we're lucky, a 4/4. I mean, work was work. Okay, I'm just going to think about this for a second here. We have Thalia's Lieutenant and Phantasmal Image. So we play the Lieutenant, and with a trigger on the stack, we Aether Vial in Phantasmal Image. And then do we attack with the 4/4, or do we hold it back? The Soulscar Mage is going to make blocking difficult. But we don't have Thalia to stifle their plays anymore. I think that we do attack for 4. And we can put the other Phantasmal Image into play with the Aether Vial on upkeep next turn if we want. Okay, with these on the stack, we activate Aether Vial. If we get the mana, absolutely. We might still just be better off playing Mantis Rider. Very nice. Look at that. 6/6. Bam, take that. Yeah, exactly. Copy that Lieutenant. Okay, I imagine they will attack. Oh, they left them back, so they're going to be on blocking duty. That's good for us. Okay, so this is our opportunity to decide if we want to... I think we might have actually missed the opportunity to use the Vial anyways. We're going to be putting in a Mantis Rider, I suppose. Because I was thinking about using it at 2 to get the image into play to copy Lieutenant, and then taking it up to 3. but that's no better than taking it up to 3 next turn anyways. Yeah, that's true. We could do it now. I'm just wondering if Mantis Rider is better, or we could give all our creatures +2/+2. Personally, I'm actually in the market. I don't know. I really like giving all our creatures +2/+2 instead of having this this flyer that dies to Lightning Bolt. And that will. The problem for me though is the Soulscar Mage, which gives our creatures -1/-1 counters instead of taking damage. They would be less fragile when I put another Lieutenant in play, but not by much. All right, let's make a Mantis Rider instead. Hey, we draw land. So we can play the General as well. Oh, that's true as well. I forget about that sometimes. The Lieutenant will just die as soon as they target it with any spell. So let's see here. Let's start by putting the Mantis Rider into play. I should be... Oh, there we go. Okay, our opponent is conceded. They were stuck on lands there, and that helped us out. So this is the matchup we bring Chalice in for, which means we're going to want to take out some of our 1-drops. We'll take out some Hierarchs. We're going to want all of our Auriok Champions. And we're going to take out some more 1-drops. And maybe... I mean, the General does get rid of Lava Dart, so we'll keep the General in play. We'll get rid of one of the images. I want to keep the Champion of the Parish and the Aether Vial, even though we are playing Chalice. Okay, we're going to submit like this. Okay, so we have 2 lands. Thalia. This hand is not speaking to me in the way that the other hand was. We don't have the 1-drop flashback spell. Exactly, Lava Dart. I'm really not liking this hand personally. The Phantasmal Images are uncastable. Thalia is quite good, but we don't have any turn 1 plays, and we don't have Chalice. We're going to mulligan this. This is quite a bit better. We can start championing the Parish into Thalia, into Thalia's Lieutenant. We're going to keep this, and we'll get rid of one of our lands. Hopefully we'll draw a 3rd so we can get Reflector Mage out eventually. Yeah, so thinking about Lava Dart, it might be right to just take the Phantasmal Images out of the deck entirely. Okay, we find our 3rd land. Cavern of Souls names Human, play Champion of the Parish. And that's going to be a target for the removal, but necessary to play. 2 mana, this is Stomp. Okay, we find an image. So I think that we want to name Illusion with the Cavern of Souls here, so that image will be castable. And then the Horizon Canopy means the Reflector Mage is also castable. We'll play the Cavern first, because the Horizon Canopy is going to be doing us damage. And play the Thalia to tax them. Okay, here's a Firebolt. They're able to keep the battlefield clear on my side. Oh, well, I was considering playing the Reflector Mage, but Auriok Champion is going to be way better. Let's play that. And being able to Phantasmal Image the champion next turn is going to be fantastic. It will have protection from red, so they won't be able to target it. I should say always yes, but I think I'm too late for that, so I'll have to do that next time. They're tapped out. I expect no attacks. We find Thalia's Lieutenant. So we'll just go ahead and play the image. No attacks. We're fine with keeping these back as blockers. I'm halfway expecting my opponent to concede here to 2 Auriok Champions. But it might still be too early for that. Okay, here's another Bone Crusher Giant. Not sure if the opponent realized what they just missed out on by playing that instead of casting it as a spell. Always yes, always yield. Now, if they had attacked first and I had blocked, they would have been able to use Stomp. Damage can't be prevented this turn, and would have killed both of my champions. As is, I could either play Reflector Mage to bounce a Soulscar Mage, or I could play Thalia's Lieutenant, which would increase the power and toughness of my creatures. And gain me 2 life. Again, I'm not too interested in attacking yet. We can wait another turn or two and play some more lieutenants later on. I'm more interested in keeping these back as blockers. Holy tribal, Batman. There's so many humans on the board right now. There's 4 humans, but one of them is an illusion. Okay, here's Flame Slash. That's fine. No attacks. And we find Mantis Rider. That's going to be able to fly in the air and start hitting the opponent for some real damage. Let's put that into play. We can't because we chose Illusion. So we cannot cast the Mantis Rider. Instead, we will... Exactly, we're going to play the Thalia's Lieutenant. We can't play the Mantis Rider anyway. Oops. Good thing, too. All those red counterspells. Okay, I'm going to turn off auto yield so I can get this done properly. Always yes. Always yes. Always yield. So that should work. Okay, Lightning Bolt at our Lieutenant, that's fine. And we've got a pair of 3/3s now. And we're at 23 life. When we're ready to start attacking, they will not be able to block. Oh boy, we're going to gain so many lives. Okay, we got Kitesail Freebooter. We can take a peek at what they have in their hand. Or we could play Thalia's Lieutenant again and make our champions into 4/4s. I like playing Freebooter here and playing Thalia's Lieutenant next turn to give us a larger flyer. And I like to take a look at what they just drew, so that if they have a stomp in hand, we can play around it. But more likely we'll just be taking something out of their hand here. Let's see what spells they have. Okay, we can take Flame Slash. And they have Blast Zone, which is quite a problem. So we are going to want to start attacking here. Blast Zone will kill the Auriok Champions in a couple turns. So if we play Thalia's Lieutenant, we get them to 4, I believe. I think it would actually be about the same as playing Mantis Rider. We're taking 8, 9, 10, 11, which is fine again. And we draw islands, so we can play the Mantis Rider now. So we have to consider how we want to run this. The Blast Zone will be killing the champions and the Freebooter, which will give them access to Flame Slash. If we play Thalia's Lieutenant, they take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go to 4, but the Mantis Rider won't be lethal next turn. If we play the Mantis Rider instead, then they can activate Blast Zone and use the Flame Slash to kill the Mantis Rider. So unfortunately, the Blast Zone has put us into a precarious situation here. I'm wondering if Reflector Mage would actually be the proper play here. Their targets don't seem very good. You think give them a target for a slash? Oh, in the Reflector Mage. Yeah, you might be right. So we're going to be attack all, which will put them to 7. And then we'll play the Reflector Mage. What do we reflect here? Probably either the Pyromancer or the Soulscar Mage. We don't want to give them the spell because they would be able to cast the Stomp. Okay, so what are we going to hit? I think probably the Soulscar Mage here. Okay, and we have to pass here. If we get access to another land, we can Mantis Rider into Thalia's Lieutenant. Well, it's what we're going to go with. It is a pretty close game, but I might have let it slip away by not attacking with the Auriok Champions earlier. I was not thinking about Blast Zone. I thought that they were just good to go. Now they are going to have to spend basically all their mana here to get rid of our board. But they do have 5 cards in hand now. Okay, here's the Flame Slash, getting rid of the Mage. It's turned into a very close game. Taking 10 damage, going to 8. We find Aether Vial, that's no good. I tried. Looks like we might have to go to game 3. I thought we had that one locked up. 5 mana. Oh gosh. I didn't realize they'd already put that in their hand. So that's GG. Okay, let's try that one again, shall we? I almost want to bring in Magus of the Moon to get rid of that damn thing, but we're on the play here. So that should give us a small advantage. Yeah, that Blast Zone really got us. Okay. We have Aether Vial and Auriok Champion. We are missing land number 2, but with the Auriok Champion here, I'm going to keep and hope that we can find another land. This is very speculative, very risky, but I'm the type of person that keeps a 1-land hand. And we'll just hope to draw land on our next turn so we can play Auriok Champion right away. Okay, we find a land. How lucky is that? Let's play our best card and pass. Okay, here's another Swift Spear, so we'll go ahead and gain a life. Always yes, and yield. Okay, they are attacking. What do you think we name with Meddling Mage? I mean, personally, I'm thinking Lieutenant here is the way to go. Yeah, I can't name Stomp. I'm going to play Lieutenant, and we'll go for broke here with damage. We will lose our Gemstone Mine, which is unfortunate, but next turn Aether Vial ticks up to 3, so we can play our Mantis Riders. Okay, if they have a lightning bolt or something similar, they'll be getting rid of our lieutenant. Okay, it looks like they do have an answer. Lava Dart. So that'll work one time. Or they can sacrifice a mountain to get rid of both. I'm fine either way. If they want to take a land off the board on their side, that's fine. Quite the stack, regardless. So let's see if they want to use the Lava Dart again. Yes, indeed. Okay. So we lose both our lieutenants, and they lose a land, as well as the card from their hand. My champion grows to the size of a 3/3. Do I still want to be attacking here? They only have one land. I think that I'm going to go aggressive, and we'll be playing the Mantis Rider next turn. So we'll be hitting for 6. We're going to get aggressive here. Keeping the champions back last time really hurt us. That doesn't mean that this is the right play to be attacking, but it's the play that I've decided to make. We're going to attack for 3 this turn, 6 next turn, and 9 the turn after that. Okay, they do have land here. So they can unleash a large amount of damage, but they don't. Okay, they're keeping their cards in hand. Watch out for Obosh. Thank you. Still in their companion zone at this point. Definitely use the Aether Vial here, and we find Thalia. That would be good if we could put it into play, but we can get Mantis Rider into play. Okay, they do have Lightning Bolt, so that kills the Mantis Rider. Okay, here's a Stomp. So good thing that we're not attacking. Or rather that we're not blocking. I know, right? They're wasting so much damage. And they don't know how Stomp works. Always know. Always yield. Hey, alright, we can put Thalia into play now. We could also name Bone Crusher Giant so they don't put it into play, but we're fine with them playing a creature if we have a Mantis Rider. So we're going to start with a Thalia. Play the Mantis Rider, get another life, and we'll attack all. Hey, don't really like this hand. We have 4 lands here. We could play the General on turn 2, which isn't terrible. But we don't have any draw lands either. My impulse is to throw this back. I don't like it. I think that a random 6 would be better than this hand. We get punished. No lands. We're going to have to mulligan. Okay, and this hand is what we have to keep. So it is what it is. Okay, we want to keep Canopy, Unclaimed Territory. So we'll lose the basic plains in the Gemstone Mine. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll let the opponent know what we're playing. I don't want to be taking damage from my Canopy land. So we're going to play that turn 3 or further on. Sacred Foundry tapped. So we have no idea what the opponent is playing. I thought you were going to say we're Magic players, we complain. Hey, the Mantis Rider there is pretty good. We're going to start with the Freebooter and find out what they're playing. And we definitely want to name Human because we have the Mantis Rider. Okay. Oh, handsome. You are a card. Okay, so Shark Typhoon is a possibility. And then we can name Cryptic Command with Meddling Mage. For some reason, Kitesail Freebooter reveals a hand twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they played Scalding Tarn. I don't know if this is a card in their hand or if they had two. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So we're going to be looking to play Mantis Rider here. And then turn 3, we'll play Meddling Mage, naming Cryptic Command. All right. Getting a bit of aggression going on. Yeah, their Ambush Viper doesn't work very well against our flyers. And we find Reflector Mage. Okay, we'll play the Canopy, which can draw us a card later. I think we attack first and then play Meddling Mage second main. Okay, it looks like they do have an answer. They're going to Lightning Bolt the Mantis Rider. Okay, nothing we can do about that. They'll just take one. And we're going to want to crack the Horizon Canopy EOT. Okay, it doesn't look like they actually have an answer. Oh, they have Spell Snare. Oh, they got us. Okay. So they have access to Cryptic Command. Yep. Yeah, they're doing pretty good at this point. It looked like we had something pretty decent going on for a second there. But Mull to 5 versus Control. And we've lost all our pressure. It's not looking good at this point. Find another land. And another land. Cavern of Souls is okay. Yeah, I don't think we really have a chance for the rest of this game. Let's take a look at a little bit more of what the opponent's deck has in store here. But I don't expect to be staying in this game for more than a couple more turns, just to see if they show us any more cards in their deck. Yeah, looks like it. Imagine they're playing Teferi. What else could they be playing? Maybe a couple copies of Helix. With the Flagstones, they're probably playing Wildfire. Aether Vial. Okay. We're going to go one more turn, see if they show us any more cards, and then we'll concede. Okay, this is going to be the shark. Uncounterable 3/3 flying, doesn't care about Teferi. I don't imagine they'll show us any more cards at this point. I think they'll just pass with Cryptic Command up. Yeah, that's right. That's the right play, opponent. Okay, how are we going to run this? Gaddock Teeg seems okay. Magus of the Moon seems okay. So Gaddock Teeg would really be hitting Cryptic Command is the only card we saw there, so I don't think that's good enough. But Magus of the Moon, I'm in for that. The Reflector Mage is going to be okay versus their Sharks. The General is going to be okay versus their Snapcaster Mages. You know, I was wondering about that. It is definitely a possibility. Not so priced into the Auriok Champion, though. They're going to have plenty of ways to deal with that. Skyclave. It doesn't hit their Sharks. So maybe if like we saw Teferi, it would be okay. But I'm not too into that one right now. It feels like it would be a dead card in hand too much. I'm much more excited about Kitesail Freebooter in this matchup. Thalia seems very good. You're going to have to say Skyclave App. Meddling Mage is quite good with the Freebooter. Mantis Rider, I think, is actually going to be one of our problem cards. They have access to Lightning Bolt and Shark to be able to block it. Phantasmal Image is going to be another problem card. They're going to have ways to target it, no problem. Thinking I'll take out 2 Reflector Mages and 2 Mantis Riders. Oh yeah, it's got a ton of text. And it's also split into 2 paragraphs, which is pretty important in some Magic cards. So we do not have access to the Freebooter, but we do have access to Meddling Mage Image. We're going to keep this and hope we can draw a source for the Kitesail Freebooter. I don't know if you caught it, but in one of my leagues with Death and Taxes, I put a Skyclave Apparition into play, and then trigger on the stack, I used an Aether Vial and put a Flicker Wisp into play and blinked the Apparition so that it took away an opponent's permanent and they did not get any token. So I was pretty proud of that move. That was pretty fun. Okay, our opponent is mulliganing to 6. And they're satisfied with that. So we'll start with a Canopy and play a Champ. Pass the turn. Really hoping for a black source so we can play the Freebooter next turn. So we'll know what to name with Meddling Mage. Otherwise, I think we'll probably just name Lightning Bolt. Exactly. It's got the 2 paragraphs instead of the 1 paragraph. Okay, no luck on the land. So we could either play Thalia's Lieutenant or we could play Meddling Mage. I'm in for playing Meddling Mage, naming Lightning Bolt. Okay, and if we want to, we can Phantasmal Image, make another Meddling Mage, so we can name something else. Although I'm kind of into playing Thalia's Lieutenant and going ham. Okay, we got a Hierarch. So let's go ham. And next turn, we're going to play Phantasmal Image and name Supreme Verdict. Okay, this could be Teferi. Yeah, there's the Time Raveler. So I imagine that will put the Champion of Parish back into my hand. Yes, indeed. Okay, Aether Vial. So does this change how I want to act? I'm still pretty into playing the image on the Meddling Mage. And then, okay, well, let's think about what if we play Lieutenant. If we play Lieutenant, we attack for 7 and put them to 1. I am way into that. Let's put them to 1 life. That's 4 here and 3 from this Lieutenant is 7. So they won't be able to fetch for the rest of the game. Vile Champion is also pretty good, but I think that would put them at 2, wouldn't it? Or 3? The Thalia's Lieutenant is giving my board +3 power here, and I want to put them to 1 so they can't fetch. Ignoring Teferi. Yeah, you're right. Anu crushes us, which was why I originally was thinking about playing the Phantasmal Image. But they would have to have a basic land. And I think it had to be a basic plains in order to sweep us. So the odds of them having basic plains was so low that I wanted to go for the pressure there. Okay, so now that we know they're playing Teferi, we might want to bring in the Apparition instead of the Reflector Mage. Mage hits the Shark, but Apparition hits Teferi. It is spreading our mana a little bit thin, though, if we're running Gaddock Teeg. Yes, it does. Gaddock Teeg turns off their sweeper. Okay, we'll take out the Reflector Mage and we'll use the Apparition instead so that we can hit their Planeswalker. Oof. This hand doesn't seem very good. I'm going to mulligan it. Doesn't really do anything. Okay, this hand is way better. Skyclave into Image. So we can just rip their hand to pieces. We'll keep this, and we'll put the Gemstone Mine back. We can name definitely Human with one of them. We might name Illusion with the other, but the Aether Vial lets us put the images in. Okay, we get Horizon Canopy. Okay. Okay, so you cannot counter my humans, and I have an Aether Vial. This seems okay to start. Hey, thanks, handsome. Gonna need it. Okay, looks like they're passing with 2 mana up. And we get Hierarch. Oh, that's cool. So we can play the Hierarch and the Freebooter. Let's play the Canopy land first. Our life total isn't under much threat in this matchup, and we can decide if we want to name Illusion with the Cavern of Souls next turn. I think I would still prefer to play either Human or Spirit on this Cavern, though. Uncounterable Human. Okay, so they have... oh, wow. That hand is Gasoline. Okay, so they have 2 Typhoons. Unfortunately, we took out our Reflector Mages. Cryptic Command, they have no lands. Aether Gust is a red or green. Okay, so that's Hierarch. I think I take the path here. And then pass the turn and put Noble Hierarch into play on their EOT. And then I can put both Phantasmal Images onto the board and get rid of their Typhoons. Okay, they're already cycling 1 for no value. Oh, Stony Silence. Okay, let's go ahead and use this Aether Vial now. They're illusions, Michael. Arrested Development. What a fantastic show. Okay, our Aether Vial is garbage. But we get a Champion of the Parish. So if we want to play Illusions, we need to name Illusion with Cavern of Souls, and that's something that we're into. We also want to play the Champion as well. So, play Cavern of Souls, name Illusion. Play Champion of the Parish, uncounterable. And then play Illusion. Copy Freebooter and take another look at their hand. Okay, so I'm thinking probably the Cryptic Command here. Either that or the Shark Typhoon. Thinking probably Cryptic Command. Let's get that. Oh, right, we have to click again. Take the Cryptic. Okay. And then we'll attack for 2 in the air. Okay, they play Flooded Strand. Oh my god, there's so many cards here. Take that, opponent. Okay, we can tick this up to 3 or leave it at 2. It doesn't matter. We can't use it. We get another Noble Hierarch. I think that we probably play another image, don't we? Take another card out of their hand. I think so. I think so. We'll go ahead and play that pre-combat. And make it uncounterable, of course. Okay. I think we'll take the Typhoon. They don't have anything good to get with their Snapcaster Mage, and Aether Gust is a bust. So we'll take the Typhoon out of their hand. Champion of the Parish attacks through Snapcaster Mage. So we're going to go ahead and attack all, hold Noble Hierarch back. I think we actually go ahead and play this Hierarch. Now if they do draw a sweeper, we're in a ton of trouble. Okay, we'll put that to the bottom. They're going to put that into play tapped and then hit 6, I imagine is what they're doing. Okay, take 5. And they're on a 2-turn clock. And we know they have 1 Snapcaster Mage in hand and 1 unknown. Always no. Always yield. Let's not waste any more time on that Aether Vial. Oh, Magus of the Moon! Chat! We got a Magus of the Moon and they cannot counter it! Chat! This is gas! They're dead. They're dead. Take that. Uncounterable Magus of the Moon. Ah, they got another Aether Gust. We'll put that on top. Ah, I was so excited. Okay, we'll attack all. They have Snapcaster in hand. Oh, as if they drew the Aether Gust, the one card that stops our Magus. Okay, we get Magus of the Moon again. Go ahead and play that for a second time. Okay, here's Snapcaster Mage. Targeting Aether Gust. Put that back on top of my library. So the opponent is fighting the good fight. We'll put that back on top. Yeah, they might as well. Attack all. They block the Champion of the Parish and go to 2. So they need Sweeper here. And even with Sweeper, I get to play Magus of the Moon on my turn. This hand is okay. Our opponent is mulliganing, and we have access to turn 2 Thalia. Not so great on the draw, but I think this hand is better than a random 6, so we're going to keep it. Okay, so we're playing against a Prowess deck that does not use Obosh. Thalia is going to be quite good. We're going to start with Cavern of Souls, name human, and pass. Not having a turn 1 play is going to be quite punishing. Okay, Fiery Islet. So this could mean that they're running the Is It Prowess list with Stormwing Familiar. If so, the Phantasmal Image might end up... Alright, I mean, you got to take care of family business, right? That's important. Family first. Magic is a close second. Okay, here's a light up the stage. Mishra's Bauble and Lightning Bolt. Oh, so this is what I'm missing out on by not being a dad? I guess I'm okay with that. Although I imagine I am missing out on quite a bit of humor. So we can play Meddling Mage and name Lightning Bolt, and that means the card here will be of no use. Or we could play Thalia and force them to spend 2 mana on a Lightning Bolt. Personally, I'm in the Thalia camp here because they won't be able to cast the Lightning Bolt on the Thalia this turn, and we have 2 Thalias. So I'd like to be able to get one onto the board, and then they can get rid of it. The question is, do I want to play the Unclaimed Territory to name Illusion? Because I currently cannot cast the image. I think I'll name Human with it, though. I have the Meddling Mage. I have 3 casting cost dudes. We'll leave the image uncastable in hand for a little while. And I don't want to be taking any kind of damage from my lands if I don't have to. So that's why I'm not playing the Canopy this turn. Thalia then Thalia. I think you're right. Okay, here's a Lightning Bolt. Take out Thalia. We'll take 2 damage. Oh, they have another Mishra's Bauble. So we're going to be taking 3 damage from the Soulscar Mage at least. Who knows? They could have mutagenic growth. We could just take a big old punch to the face. Okay. We get Cavern of Souls. So this can name Illusion. And we can Reflector Mage the Soulscar Mage. So that's what we're going to do. And pass back. Next turn, we have Thalia into Meddling Mage, or Thalia into Phantasmal Image, depending on how they play. Manamorphose. So I think they are playing the, what's name? Stormwing Entity. Okay, we get another land, and this one does not cost us life to play. So we'll go ahead and play that. I think we want to play Thalia into Meddling Mage. That uses our mana the best. With the Meddling Mage, I'm not sure what we want to play. Probably we want to name Lightning Bolt, even though they've already cast one, because it's going to be their best removal spell versus us. Okay, and then we have 2 mana left over for the Meddling Mage. I don't think the opponent will be playing Stomp in this deck. The opponent is playing cards that I was not playing when I was playing Izzet. I was not playing the Mishra's Bauble. But generally, the Izzet Prowess list does not play Stomp. They play Bedlam Reveler instead. Okay, discarding Lightning Bolt. Makes sense. And we get Aether Vial a little bit late. So we're going to be playing the General and then the Image. And the Image, I believe, will name Reflector Mage. Bouncing the Bedlam Reveler, and then we'll attack. Okay, so we want to use the human lands here. Okay, and then the General, what are we going to pull out of their graveyard here? I don't think it really matters. Just as long as it's an instant or a sorcery. Yeah, exactly. get this out of the way. And then we can attack all. Opponent cannot play the Reveler this turn, but they do have access to quite a few cards. Fortunately, we have Thalia to tax them. Yeah, it's General Kudro. Ah, wonderful. No attacks. Okay. They should only have access to one spell here. And we have Mantis Rider. White. Red. Blue. Yeah, that doesn't seem very good. Ah, they knew I was playing Mantis Rider here, so they conceded. So we want to bring in Chalice of the Void. So we can name their one drops. And Auriok Champion. Skyclave Apparition does not hit their Stormwing nor their Bedlam Reveler, so I'm not too fussed about bringing it in here. We want to take out 5 cards. I would like to take out mostly 1-drops. We're going to take out our Hierarchs and one of our images because they have access to Lava Dart. All right, well, thanks a lot for stopping by, Handsome. And I'll talk to you later. Cheers. Okay, we have a 1-land hand, but we have Aether Vial and Champion of the Parish and Thalia. It's very risky, but we're on the draw here. We're going to keep this. And we're going to gamble that we're going to draw a card in the next 2 turns. Or a land, specifically, I mean. Okay, it looks like our opponent did mulligan to 6. No land here. Cavern of Souls, name human, and put Aether Vial into play. Hope they don't have a Braid for that. Okay, here's a Swift Spear. Really looking for a land off the top so we can play Thalia and Parish. Do we get lucky? Okay, their opponent is lighting up the stage. And they get 2 lands. Do we get a land, though? That's what I'm interested in. No land. Okay, we just have to pass here. We can put the champion into play, EOT on their turn, and then we'll put the Thalia into play on our turn. We were punished. That's what we get for being greedy. Do we get a land this time? Oh, man. What a punt. I should have put the champion into play, but I hit 2 instead of 1. All right. We can recover from this in game 3. No land again. But we have Auriok Champion, so we're going to go ahead and put that into play so we don't have to discard. Oh man, I am just playing really, really terribly right now. I can't believe I'm doing this. I could have put the champion into play at any time. All right. We need to kind of reset here because we are not playing ideally. Got a little bit tilted. Really? You're casting all these spells now? Ah, why not, right? Got a little bit tilted with missing the land, and because of that, we've missed a couple opportunities to put the Champion of the Parish into play. Do I want to tick this up to 3? It gives us access to Reflector Mage and Mantis Rider. I'm going to tick it up to 3. And we find our land finally. So we can play Mantis Rider and then put Thalia's Lieutenant into play. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's actually better to play the Lieutenant and then vial the Mantis Rider into play with the trigger on the stack. I think technically that's what we're supposed to do. Not too priced into playing the Reflector Mage on the Swiftspear right now. Okay, always yes, always yield. And they have a Wild Slash. Okay. Damage cannot be prevented this turn. So we do not want to attack in with the Auriok Champion. That would be a death sentence for it. Here's a crash through. So that's going to allow the Swiftspear to go through the champion. And they also have Lava Dart in their graveyard. Adding a blue mana. What do you do for a single blue? I guess if you have Entity. Ah, here's a Reveler. So that's something that can be reflected. And we can also play Thalia on our turn. So that's going to be pretty gas. Okay, here's the Lava Dart. Now they have 2 cards left in hand, and they have Crash Through. Oh, light up the stage. So they're out of mana currently. And there's no lands there. Kozilek's Return will kill the Auriok Champion. And I might as well prevent 2 damage. So I'll go ahead and block here. Okay. Always no. And always yield. And we find a Freebooter. Okay. Unfortunately, Freebooter does not hit Kozilek's Return, but we can play the Thalia in hopes that they do not have access to a land. I'm thinking I want to play Thalia Reflector Mage, or we could play Meddling Mage and name Kozilek's Return. Hey, that's using your noggin. So we play Meddling Mage, name Kozilek's Return, and then Reflector Mage the Bedlam Reveler out of the way. Okay, and we can Reflector Mage on their turn. This Champion of the Parish should be in play and should be enormous, but that's my mistake. Hey, okay. Okay. I think this hand is good enough. I think this is better than a random 7. It's unfortunate that we don't have a 1-drop. Oh, we're playing against Obosh. Thalia is good against Obosh. Thalia's Lieutenant's fine. Freebooter's good. Reflector Mage seems good too. So it's nice that our opponent let us know what we're playing against. We'll give them the same courtesy by playing this Cavern of Souls and naming human. So now everyone knows what everyone is playing. That's right. Human's number 1. Okay, so they do have a creature here. They'll be able to start applying pressure. And I'm going to play Thalia right away. Excellent, we get another land. So, we could name Illusion with the Cavern of Souls. We only need 1 mana for all of our 2-drops, and the Reflector Mage can be cast off the Horizon Canopy. So I would like to name Illusion so that we have access to the Phantasmal Image later. But we're playing Thalia now. That's going to tax their mana, so they won't be able to play 2 spells this turn. Okay, here's a Firebolt, and we'll take 2 damage. Noble Hierarch. Okay. So I'm thinking Kitesail Freebooter, Noble Hierarch this turn, and then we can look at either Reflector Mage or Thalia's Lieutenant the turn after that. I would like to be able to take a peek at their hand and see what they're working with. Reflector Mage would also be a good option here, I think. Let's see here. We definitely want to play the Canopy. There's no doubt there. I am considering actually the Reflector Mage. It will slow their clock down significantly. Blue, white, colorless. I'm thinking that if we play the Kitesail Freebooter, they're just going to be able to remove it right away and continue to attack with their Swift Spear. This way, it's going to give them pause, and we can... oh, that's a pretty good one from the opponent. Okay, and they get an Elemental. Okay, Noble Hierarch will allow our Reflector Mage to attack. I'm thinking probably Hierarch into Freebooter here. We'll play the Hierarch pre-combat and Freebooter post-combat. Looks like no blocks. The other option is using the image to bounce the Pyromancer. But I think that gives them access to too much card draw. Bouncing a Pyromancer just doesn't really seem like a good trade. And here we can take Flame Slash. Get rid of that removal spell. And pass back. We're going to have access to a ton of mana next turn. We'll be able to play Image and Lieutenant. Oh, they drew another Flame Slash? Oh, opponent, you are so lucky. Okay, they actually go after the Hierarch instead of the Reflector Mage there. They're left with 2 cards in hand. One is Light Up the Stage, and the other is something that I must have clicked through. Unfortunately, the Kitesail Freebooter reveals the opponent's hand twice, and that's quite awkward. Okay, we're taking 6 damage here. Maybe I should have left the Reflector Mage back. Ah, well, that's unfortunate. We're going to be looking towards games 2 and 3 here to try and get our trophy. Meddling Mage, unfortunately, cannot stop the stomp. So they could stomp on the Meddling Mage and then cast the Bone Crusher Giant anyway. So what are we going to do? What are we to do? I think we probably Phantasmal Image the Reflector Mage. Either that, or we could play the Thalia's Lieutenant. Noble Hierarch, Thalia's Lieutenant, maybe. We could also Meddling Mage the Light Up the Stage, but again, the opponent just has Stomp ready to go. Yeah, I agree. It's looking pretty poor. I'm just deciding if we have any lines here at all. We could Reflector their Pyromancer, and then we'll have blocks for their creatures. The Stomp won't kill a Reflector Mage. We could put a Hierarch in play. It's looking pretty bad. I think that we're going to be going to the next game very soon. We could actually get the Seasoned Pyromancer here. We're going to copy their Pyromancer, and then we're going to discard Hierarch and Meddling Mage. And draw 2 fresh cards. We get a Champion of the Parish, very good, and an Aether Vial. I think I would rather get the Champion into play here. Actually, cancel that. We're going to get the Aether Vial into play, because the Stomp kills the Champ. Hold our guys back. Okay, that got their Stomp out of there. Oh, and then the Bone Crusher Giant goes to the graveyard because the Illusion's ability triggered. So they do not get to cast the Giant. That's pretty cool. I didn't think of that. I wonder if the opponent did. Okay, we have a couple chump blockers here. All right, so let's go ahead and chump. Want to keep our life total flush here if we can. Opponent only has 2 cards left in hand. So we're not doing too bad yet. Not saying we came back, but that Phantasmal Image into the Seasoned Pyromancer was pretty good. Absolutely. And we get a Mantis Rider off the top. Okay. What I'm thinking is I want to put Champion of the Parish into play. And Thalia's Lieutenant. We cannot put the Mantis Rider into play because this is named Illusion. So put the Lieutenant into play, trigger on the stack. Put the Champion of the Parish into play. Now the question is, do we attack this turn? We do have to get the opponent dead at some point, and they have enough mana to cast Obosh. They will have to put it into their hand first, though. I'm very scared of attacking here. I think that I'm going to hold back the Reflector Mage as a blocker. Although with a Soulscar Mage in play, Reflector Mage doesn't do an excellent job of blocking anyway. Okay, here's a Flame Slash, takes it off the board. So we're going to be looking at double blocking one of their creatures at this point. Now, if they have removal spell, we're pretty hosed, but if they had another spell in hand, we'd be pretty hosed anyway. So I'm not going to play around what I can't beat. I imagine they'll put Obosh in their hand and pass here. No, they have Light Up the Stage. Okay, here's a Lightning Bolt, which can get rid of my Lieutenant. I'm basically toast. We fought the good fight, but I don't see any way to come back from this. Let's see what we draw here. Meddling Mage. Hey, that's pretty good. So we could name either Lightning Bolt or Obosh with the Meddling Mage. So we'll put... Oh, we still can't put the Mantis Rider in play. We just don't have the land for it. So I think I probably put Meddling Mage in play, name Obosh. They Lightning Bolt the Meddling Mage. So I want to do that during their draw step. And I definitely don't want to attack. Okay, here's the lightning bolt targeting me. And they have another lightning bolt. Okay. Very good. Perhaps I should have put Meddling Mage into play on my turn, named Lightning Bolt, but that is the risk. Okay, so we have Auriok Champion, very good in this matchup, and we have Chalice of the Void. This is the reason we're playing this card in the sideboard. As for what we're going to be taking out, I've generally been taking out Hierarch in this matchup, as well as one Phantasmal Image, because of how easy it is for the opponent to destroy it. They can just aim a lava dart at it, no matter what creature it is copied, and it's just gone. So we're going to go with this. Okay, so we need 2 in a row here. We'll take the play. Okay, we have 2 lands, and the hand looks fine. We're going to keep. We're missing our sideboard cards, but that's okay. Put an Aether Vial into play first, and then next turn we'll be able to put a Champion of the Parish and a Thalia's Lieutenant into play. Take the stop off the opponent's draw. Hey, we got Auriok Champion. That's pretty great. That's as good as it gets, I think. So we'll go ahead and put the Champion into play, and both Champions, really. And I want to put the Champion into play. As much as I want to put the Champion into play right now to get the value from it, from playing the Auriok Champion, it would be exposing it to a Lightning Bolt from the opponent. So I'm just going to put the Auriok Champion into play. And then we'll put the Champion of the Parish into play at the end of the opponent's turn and gain a life. Pretty lucky there, drawing an Auriok Champion off the top. And the opponent is passing with 2 mana up. Sure, they will be able to kill the Champion of the Parish here, but we're going to go ahead and put it into play anyway and make them use their mana, gaining a life while we're at it. Okay, there's the lava dart. No surprise. Okay, always yes, and yield. Let's not use any extra time on that Auriok Champion there. I definitely want to tick this up to 2. Do we find a land off the top? No, we find another Lieutenant. Okay. So I'm thinking play Lieutenant and see if they respond with a lava dart. But either way, this will get the Auriok Champion into a nice size. All right, opponent. Let's see if they bite. Yes, indeed. We are still going to put this Lieutenant into play. It will get the trigger from the previous lieutenant, turning it into a 2/2, making it immune to their lava darts. We'll go ahead and attack for 3. We're not afraid of their haste creatures now. We've been gaining life, and we just want to put a clock on the opponent. Oh, they have the blast zone. Opponent. Okay, we'll tick this up to 3. And there it will stay. And we get another Reflector Mage. Fantastic. Opponent is going to have problems putting up with our pressure. But getting the Auriok Champion off the board is quite the coup for the opponent. In any event, take 9. Looks like they might have a Lightning Bolt for the Mantis Rider. Yes, indeed. Okay, nothing we can do. They'll take 6, but they will not take up the blast zone, which is very important. Keeps the Auriok Champion on the board for another turn. Here's a pillage, and again, they are neglecting their blast zone. That's fine. I think they're actually almost certainly dead, but no, they have Firebolt to do 2 damage to the Lieutenant, and then they'll lose a land and Lava Dart it. That's fine. If they want to lose lands, we're cool with that. Opponent and I are both dealing with limited resources, but we found a Thalia off the top. Oh, I hit the 2 button. That's another punt. Oh well. It's because we didn't want to lose the Thalia to the blast zone. That's what it was. Okay, we gain a life off that. Do we find a land? We do. So we can reflect the Swiftspear. Obviously, we do not want to play the Thalia when their blast zone is ready to go. Being careful not to hit 2 this time. Okay, they'll have to spend all their mana to get rid of the champion, and then we'll be able to play Thalia. Yeah, I think that it definitely worked out for the best in this case. Being able to cast a Thalia later is pretty good. They have to spend all their mana to get the Auriok Champion off the board, and they still go to 3. Okay, now we'll play the Thalia. What you got, opponent? Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. That's quite good. But we have a Phantasmal Image. We just need blue mana to be able to copy that Pyromancer. We could also reflect the Pyromancer, and then they have to chump chump. Okay, we get Gemstone Mine. So now we have a decision to make. Do we Phantasmal Image the Pyromancer and make some tokens of our own? Or do we just play the Reflector Mage and attack in? I like playing the Reflector Mage here and attacking in. I know, right? All the blast zones. So many blast zones. So we can actually reflect one of their elementals. Their Seasoned Pyromancer is only a good blocker if they block with an elemental, double blocking. I think I actually want to get rid of one of the tokens here. But that would actually mean that I would lose my Thalia. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of the Pyromancer. They won't be able to cast it next turn, so that's fine. And we'll hit 2. We have nothing else to do on this turn. Okay, so they'll go to 1. Here's a Soulscar Mage as a blocker. They have enough mana to cast a spell. Here's a Firebolt at Thalia, which means they do have access to Lightning Dart. But if they're tapped out and I Phantasmal Image a Reflector Mage, I believe they're dead. Freebooter, okay. I don't think that's necessary. They should scoop to this. Yes, indeed. I do believe this is still lethal. Yes, indeed. Okay, let's go back to sideboard. I don't believe I want to change anything here, though. Quite satisfied. I could potentially bring in Plague Engineer and name Elemental. But I think I'm quite satisfied with what I have going. I'm going to submit. Okay, we have 11 minutes to finish our final game. It's all coming down to this, and we get Chalice of the Void. So we're going to put that on 1. We're going to keep. 4-land hand, not great. And Chalice would be far better on the play, obviously. And we get an Auriok Champion as well. So we'll play one of these Unclaimed Territories named Human. And pass. Play Chalice of the Void on turn 2, and then Auriok Champion on turn 3. Now, if the opponent doesn't have any other lands here, they're in quite a bit of trouble. But I imagine they have a Light Up the Stage to follow up the Soulscar Mage. Okay. Let's take our turn. And we get a Champion of the Parish off the top. That's a dead card. I think we'll play Cavern of Souls, Human, play the Chalice. X is 1, done. Bad keep, you say? Very possible. I am an inexperienced humans player. And this hand might just be too slow. I'm hoping the Auriok Champion will pull through, combined with the Phantasmal Image. Okay, we get a Reflector Mage. I don't think we want to reflect anything yet. We'll just play our champ and that'll stem the bleeding. Oh, here's a Blood Moon. That's really bad. Fortunately, we have Basic Island to play the image to make another champ. Okay, so this is 6-7 damage. We could kill the Elemental. And then we would take 6, go to 8. Yeah, you're right. The Chalice was far too slow. I should maybe only have that on the play. And now I can't cast any of my spells. Oh, here's another Pyromancer. So yeah, basically the Chalice did nothing. I mean, we are gaining quite a bit of life, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. If we can't cast our spells, and we can't even put an Aether Vial into play. If we do get Plains, though, we can play Mantis Rider. Plains would be very good, obviously. But we only have the one in the entire deck, so our odds of drawing it are incredibly small. They might go ahead and play the Firebolt, even though it will be countered, just to trigger Prowess. Yes, indeed. Okay, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not lethal. We could block the 2 elementals and take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, put us a 5. That seems bad. I think we have to put our creatures in front of the Soulscar Mages to take minimum damage here. But this looks like a losing battle. So basically this came down to a bad keep on our final game. Our opponent is unfortunately going to be able to play through these champions because our lands are mountains. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get these elementals off the board. And they have Lava Dart. So that's probably GG. Just from the prowess triggers. It's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll be left at 3. And then we won't be able to deal with the crackback on the next turn. Oh no, they just have a ton of lava darts. Okay, GG opponent. Alright, so we ended up 4-1, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, we did screw up a little bit on that final game, but I think that we can learn a little bit from that and think a little bit more about our starting hands with this little bit of experience. Anyways, I am quite satisfied with the deck. I think the deck performed very well. Didn't get much of a chance to play the Skyclave Apparition, but the Auriok Champion was incredible. Magus of the Moon was very good. And actually, the General Kudro done quite well against a previous prowess deck. So I don't think I'm going to change anything here for our league on Friday. If you're interested in watching some more humans, I'll be starting a league on Friday at 7 a.m. ADT, my normal time. And I will be putting this league up on YouTube if you would like to see the previous matches that you might have missed. All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by. J-Min, Whereas, Handsome, thank you very much for your kind words. And Whereas, I definitely appreciate the criticism. I'm new to the deck, so letting me know when I make a mistake is very helpful. Thank you. All right, I'm going to sign off. I hope you all have a wonderful day.